Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Break Time Podcast, where you can just kind of chill and talk about whatever interests us. We'll start somewhere and see where it takes us. I'm Eric, and as always, I'm joined by my two good friends.
Is this the ongoing trend now? Is this where it's going? Is it just going to be like Eric is trying to prove for a fact that he is indeed our friend and not some sleeper agent, like secretly a cop who's going to catch us doing some bad stuff
Friendship.
and then rat us out?
I, for one, appreciate your friendship.
Yes. Jake and Ryan.
I'll appreciate your friendship up until the point where you reveal that you were an undercover cop the entire time and are about to put us away. At which point I will start to hate you because you betrayed us.
No, then revealing myself is the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Hey,
but
wait
if you
a minute.
do reveal yourself... Is
this a decision? If it is, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
This is a wrong. This is a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, you might have just admitted to being an undercover cop.
No, these are your own delusional fantasies. I am no undercover cop. Anyways, how are you guys doing on this fine, hot summer day?
Doing well. I have a nice, refreshing cold drink next to me. This is kind of a staple amongst things that I drink, but I'm currently enjoying a nice glass of what is called honey citron ginger.
You mean jam tea?
I mean, it says that it can be used as jam on the jar, but I've never used it as jam.
You don't want to spread your tea on toast?
What is honey citron?
Honey citron. So okay, honey. I hope you know what honey is.
Yes.
But citron. Yes, citron is a citrus fruit that is not a lemon, but it looks like a lemon and has a very similar flavor to lemon. And then ginger is ginger, and that's all in like this jam-like. I don't know what else. It has a jam-like consistency. There's a giant jar of it. You spoon some of it into your glass, and you add water, and then it becomes a beverage. That is very delicious.
Oh.
Can you do that with normal jam?
I mean, I guess you could.
Can I make
but
myself some grape drink with jelly?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I like the sound of that either.
Some mild strawberry jam water?
The
Yummy.
thing is that I don't know if jam dissolves in water.
That's just a honey citron. Just a unique feature of that.
No,
jam.
it says tea. The first thing it says is tea, but then it says underneath that it could also be used as. It's possible to use it, but it's mainly advertised as a tea.
So you're saying that they made tea, and then some weirdo in the design team is like, bro, I spread this on toast and I liked it. And they're like, alright, it's a new feature.
I think it would work. It's sweet enough when not dissolved in water, where it could be used as, a jam on tea, a marmalade of some kind.
Marmalade? What's marmalade?
Oh my god, it's like jam, but it's a different kind of spread thing. Like
Marmalade tends to be more bitter. It uses more peel from the citrus.
Does
fruits.
it?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Because orange
this.
marmalade is more bitter. It's primarily a British thing.
Yes, it's made from the juice and peel of citrus fruits, boiled with sugar and water.
Yeah, I
the
think
most
the-
well-known version.
I think the difference is jelly doesn't have pulp in it, jam has pulp in it, and marmalade has
Preserves?
peel. I think
Yeah.
preserve is the same as marmalade.
Probably. Preserves is less. It has less of a jam-like consistency, and it also has actual pieces of fruit in it. At least if you get.
Yeah, jelly is the closest as you're approaching like a jello texture.
Yeah, I hate jelly.
You don't like jelly?
No, jelly's disgusting. I need the fruit pulp for it to be enjoyable. Otherwise, it just feels like I'm eating a piece of Jello, and it doesn't feel good if you spread that on a sandwich. It doesn't look very appetizing either. It looks very unnatural. The fact that it conforms to the shape of its container.
I definitely like jam better. My family makes jam every once in a while from fruit trees that are around. We make apricot jam. Is the tree that generally does the best, so we have the most apricot jam, and it's pretty good.
I see. Anyway, we didn't even hear how Jake was doing. I kind of just said that I have a drink.
I'm doing good. I have a searing hot cup of coffee on this hot summer day. To help cool me off.
I don't understand you at all. That is the last
It's
thing I
nice.
want to drink.
It's
How do you
refreshing.
drink- How do you drink coffee at 3 and still be able to sleep at night?
I think it's decaf.
Oh no,
I
this
think
one's
he's,
not decaf.
Okay.
I would never drink caffeine after 4:30 or 5.
I see.
Then it's a problem. Right now, it's not a problem.
I guess people's bodies just work different ways. I feel like caffeine
Yeah.
just has no effect on me. I can drink some cans of soda and a coffee, and I can still fall asleep like right away.
We gotta test this out. We gotta see what the actual limit of Eric's caffeine intake
Oh
is.
yeah, I mean, you definitely
Although
build
we
up a
do-
resistance to it. I mean, when I was in college, probably the only beverages I drank like at all were coffee and water, and I'd drink coffee till like 10 p.m. Full caffeine. It's just how I did it.
Sounds kind of unhealthy drinking caffeine at 10
The
p.m.
worst part is the heartburn with coffee that late, honestly.
Oh, yeah, that can happen with too much caffeine. Your blood's
Is it
pumping
the
too
caffeine
fast.
that does that, or
the coffee
is
is
it just...
really acidic too.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways, we can
Partly
continue
like
on this
coffee,
topic,
but
but
it's so good.
I had an idea for what we could talk about for this episode.
I didn't even realize you
Brilliant.
came in with an. I didn't know you
Yes.
came in with a
Yes,
topic.
You're a
I
real
totally
host.
forgot I was hosting today after I was not here last week for Father's Day.
Yeah.
And then I'm here like, oh, I'm hosting. I need a topic. Let me think of one.
I mean,
right
you
now.
don't need a topic, but I mean, the only reason why I had those two topics was because like those things were kind of relevant, and I was like, hey, what do my friends think about this? But you don't need to come in with like a topic.
No, this was relevant to me as soon as I went to go get water before we started recording. So what just happened? I was getting water from, cause we get water from like we buy it ourselves. We buy purified water in like one of those giant water cooler jugs. I don't know what to call those.
Yeah,
like a
it's
10-gallon
just the
jug.
water
Yeah,
from
one-
water stores.
Yeah, one
I
of
know
those
what
big
you're saying.
10-gallon jugs.
Yes, the water store.
Yeah, the water store. And I also want to get some ice along with it because it's pretty hot.
Hmm.
From our fridge, which I've now learned our ice maker no longer works. In summer,
Bummer.
it's a little sad. Bummer. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about basically issues with water because I've
I
had
see.
some pretty bad experiences within like the past few years from water damage and water pipes just going bad.
Oh yeah.
I have like two different stories within the last year that I want to share with you guys. So the first one was at our house. I don't think I told about it. I think I mentioned it before, but I never talked about it on the show. Where one day I was heading to the garage to get something. And I feel for some reason it felt like something was raining on me inside the garage in my own house.
Oh
Like,
no.
That's weird. That doesn't seem right. So I look up and I just see this giant dark moldy stain on the ceiling. It's obvious. The moment I look at it, it's obviously water damage, but I don't know how it
Yeah.
got there. It could be a broken pipe. It could be some leaking water. I'm like, all right, it's not good. I call my parents. We call in a inspector. They come over and and they just start sawing off our ceiling to look where the water's coming from. They have to remove all the insulation within it as well. So then our garage is located below our kitchen. So either the water is coming from a pipe that's in between the garage and the kitchen, or maybe there's something in the kitchen that's leaking into the garage.
And going all the way through.
Yeah. So they first cut it open and we realized there are no water pipes between the kitchen and the garage. I think it's just the design of the house. There's just no pipes located there. It's just all insulation or something. So then, okay, we ruled out the water pipes. So we thought it might have been our sink in our kitchen because that's supposed to have issues with it before. Like right below the sink, the water pipe would leak sometimes. But it's like not under the floor. It's in like a cabinet right under the sink. So we checked that for a while, and that doesn't seem to be the problem. Then we look at, and our kitchen has like a little island on it too, like a little island counter where we like it's just sitting in the middle of our room.
Yeah.
We checked that as well. Also, no water leaking from there. Then the last place we check is our fridge, which is like up against the wall. There's like a little crevice, like a little door hole just made for the fridge, so you could put the fridge inside.
Yeah, a lot of houses have something like that.
Yeah, so
This one does.
we pull the fridge out, And then we see where the water damage is coming from. And it is from the fridge, from the, I forget what it's called. It's like one of the water pipes for the fridge. It helps like provide the fridge with water and whatnot, so you can get water and ice from it.
Line.
Like a water line?
Yeah,
I
the
guess?
water line, that's what it's called. So the water line is leaking. We've had this issue before, but we noticed it. But this time we didn't notice it for some reason. I just guess the water didn't leak out far enough and instead traveled downwards toward the garage. So we found this from the fridge. It was not good. It had been at least maybe a couple weeks of buildup from the water from the fridge. So that's not good. The wood is damaged. It's rotten. It's moldy. It's weak. So it's like a danger to everyone in the house as well. Since it is a wood flooring, not carpet, it's wood flooring in the kitchen. So then, after inspectors like found out the cause of it, and we had to start preparing for repair. They had cut open our ceiling. They had ripped out our kitchen floorboards so we could find the water. And now, what they did, it was an interesting experience. So what they did, they got like this huge tarp to cover the floorboard. Not only the floorboard, they didn't do anything with the garage ceiling yet. Since most of the water came from the kitchen floorboards, they got a huge tarp to cover over the wet area. Then they cut a hole and put like a tube in it that connects to like a vacuum of some sorts. No, was it a vacuum? No, it was like a blower. It was like blowing air.
Vacuums, yeah.
Yeah, the water vacuums. I think it was a blower. It was blowing air into like the tarp area. I think it was to help it dry faster. But they had set up this giant machine blower that just blows air into the tarp. And they said, alright, we'll come back in 2 weeks once it's dry. I was like, what? You're leaving this thing here for 2 weeks? This thing is loud. This blower, it is super loud and it's running 24/7. We can hear it upstairs when we sleep. It was such a bad experience. So, we just have to live with this whole blower in our kitchen and like this inaccessible area in our kitchen that we just can't use or step over because the floorboards are damaged as well, so we don't want to put too much pressure on it. So we had to live with it for like a few weeks. And during that time, we also have to try and find new floorboards to replace the floor. Obviously, we want to try to find slimmer wood to replace it so it looks natural.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of finding it since at the time, in the middle of the process, I had to go to San Diego for college. So my parents were trying to find floorboards for it. They had searched like every single hardware store you could possibly imagine. And it turns out like the type of floor, the type of wood our floor uses was like some type of Jamaican wood. I don't know the specifics, but they had to drive like maybe
to Jamaica to cut the tree themselves and make the floorboards to use under that part of the house.
A tree no longer accessible by mankind had to conduct evil ancient rituals, like driving to Jamaica, right across the ocean.
Yeah, they went to Jamaica. No, they had to drive like 60 miles out. It's like an hour drive to find a hardware store that actually had found one. So I did find it, which is nice. The floor looks fine now, but it was just the whole process of finding out where the water cut is coming from, realizing we have left the water running for multiple weeks and have severely damaged our flooring, and then we have to fix it and repair it. It was just so bad. This fridge we've had this fridge we've had also has been having issues. We bought it when we first got the house, so our fridge is like 10 years old? No, more than that. I want to say 15 years old by now. And we're thinking of replacing it, but we're waiting for Black Friday to hopefully find a sale for it. We bought this fridge on Black Friday as well. We waited 2 hours in Fry's. Do you guys remember Fry's electronic hardware store?
Oh, I love Fry's, dude.
I don't think I've ever set foot inside of Fry's.
Yeah, they were selling fridges for Black Friday. We waited 2 hours in line to buy the dang thing. They delivered it. And after a week, we realized the freezer for the fridge didn't work. So they had to ship it back out and bring a new one in. It was so bad. This fridge is...
How did you find out that the freezer didn't work?
I wonder why. Could it be the
Yeah, what
rancid...
happened?
Could it be the rancid meat in our freezer when we opened it one
Yeah!
day? Oh, dude. Ooh, that was bad.
That's terrible.
Ugh. Water damage sucks, guys. It's not good.
It does. I mean, if your story is done, I mean, I have a bit of a story, but it's more like a issue with water that I've kind of had my entire life. It doesn't get into the gross part of like, oh, there's like this mold that was caused by water damage in some place. So, my biggest thing is that I have a very, very averse reaction to most tap water. I don't like tap water.
I love tap water.
Okay, well, if you live where I live, you can't drink the tap
Understandable. It's
water. Yeah, so here, what it is that usually, if you have tap water, you'd like to use it for certain things, right?
That's the goal.
Usually you'd, I don't know, drink it. That's usually like the fundamental thing you'd want to do with tap water.
Shower
that is
with
not
it.
some... Showering is, it's okay. I'll get to it. It's a little bit of an odd thing. But basically, the water tastes so goddamn bad that it's not, I can't imagine anyone drinking it, and I learned, like, I don't know, some amount of years ago, that apparently the tap water in the place where I live is essentially just above the acceptable threshold for tap water.
Barely passed.
Yeah. And there's so many issues with it. I mean, like, I can remember the first time that like, realized how awful it is, and it was kind of just like a formative moment. You know how in most, I don't know, media or cartoons or whatever, where like a kid is up and he gets a glass of water to drink
to
help him sleep or something like that. Yeah, I tried doing that, and I tried drinking that water, and oh my god, did I hate it! And I was like, what? This is what people are drinking in movies and stuff? This stuff is awful.
They're desperate.
It's how can anyone do this? It was really, really bad. I hated it. And I couldn't imagine. I've even gone to like friends' houses who have a water filter that is part of their sink, so they have filtered water from, like, they filter the tap water through a certain spout that they installed into their sink, and they drink it, and I did not want to do it at all. I did not trust it. I didn't trust that I did not trust that it could get rid of the disgusting nature that this water was just inherent in this water. And so, I have, for the most part, been pretty averse to it, at least in recent years, though. When I've ever gone to other places, like if I was to, I don't know, visit my grandparents in San Francisco or something like that, the tap water there is really good. I am willing to drink the tap water in San Francisco. When we were in Santa Cruz and her university, I drink water from the tap. It wasn't great, but you run it through like a Brita filter, and it's fine. It's not as good when it's warm or lukewarm. It's better when it's cold. And that brings me to the next point that I have about the water in the place where I live. And that's, if it's hot outside, or you make it hot, it has a very distinct odor to it that smells...
The water smell.
I can't describe it. But it's so gross, and so, usually, at least it used to, I don't know if it's been fixed, but we used to have a water softener that worked, and at some point I realized, wait a minute, this water has I've never noticed it, but this water has like a smell to it now. And it's very uncomfortable, and I don't know how I feel about, like, washing myself with it, because I'm afraid that I'm not actually clean.
Smelly
by using this water. It smells weird, and it's okay, because, like, you're using soap and you dry yourself off and things like that. But I'm very, very concerned. I have sensitive skin, man. For all I know, it's because of that water that I have, like, some skin issues.
I mean, I think it's a good measure if something feels off about your tap water to be overly cautious of it. I mean, I don't mean to, like, fearmonger you or anything, and obviously your case is not going to be as egregious as other places, but there's a lot of places that have atrociously bad tap water situations. Like, a lot of Hawaii got, like, fucked by the military bases around there, that there's basically jet fuel in their water.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like in a lot of places not even safe to bathe in, and because
You
it was
can
the
set it on
military, it just
fire.
got covered up and never admitted for years and years and years. Actually, I'm not sure if they ever admitted it was entirely their fault, but they admitted there was a problem.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, what other company's putting jet fuel in the water?
Who else could have
Could
possibly
it
done
possibly
something like
be the
that?
million-gallon tank of jet fuel that's next to the
Yeah.
water supply in your base? Is that
I don't
potentially
know.
it?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, maybe it's not. You
Yeah, I don't
know.
know.
What
The
if there's
ABC
just some
store
other
looking a
problem?
little suspicious over there too.
But yeah, in addition to that, you know how most refrigerators have like an ice maker or water that you can, put a glass up to and you can have it pour it out and
Yeah,
things like that?
that's also your tap.
Water is precious. We take care of it. The first time, like, I had, the first time I had a thought, I was like, oh, we really need to take care of the water. Is when I read on the news in Oregon where two teenagers peed in a reservoir. They broke into a reservoir and just peed in it and basically just ruined the water in the reservoir for like the entire community.
Those pricks.
These guys are
But
freaking
why?
idiots. Why did they do this?
You know, they probably lived there too. They made it worse for themselves too.
And the other thing is that we do live in a state that is notorious for not having enough water.
Mm.
Yeah, like my family's kind of the same way with how you view tap water, Ryan, in that we don't really trust it, even though I've tasted it before and smelled it. I don't think it has as bad. I don't think we have it as bad as what your tap water is. But but we don't trust it. We used to get water from our fridge, filtered water from our fridge, and then boil it on the stove before we drink it. But now we also don't trust our fridge, for the reasons I mentioned earlier today.
Yeah, what if you end up drinking moldy water?
That'd be
no.
bad. That'd be even worse. Oh, yeah, we buy our water from a water store now, purified water.
We do as well.
Yeah, Then we boil it, then we drink it.
Oh, you go the extra mile
Yeah.
and boil that?
We boil that too. We just want to make super sure the water we're drinking is not terrible. It's like, I've talked to people about this too, people who grew up drinking tap water, people who grew up boiling their water before. Usually I found it's usually Asian families that like boiling their water. Everyone else usually doesn't do it as much. And
My grandma tends to do that.
yeah. They're always surprised when I tell them I boil my water. And like, they always ask, does it taste different? Like, it does taste different. Boiled water tastes much different from, like, tap water. Yeah, you kill all the bacteria in it, you get rid of any germs. You're just cleaning the water one more time.
Oh yeah, I mean, even in, I'm sure it would taste a little different if anything, because, even in, like, perfect water plants, the way that water is purified uses microbes. I guess a kind way of saying bacteria, but there's in tap water, there's living things that are put in to purify the water that are harmless to people.
Mm-hmm.
So it would always really taste different if you boiled it, I'm sure.
Other things about water?
Jake, you
I'm pretty blessed. I live in a
water
place
stories?
with nice tap.
Wow.
I just drink straight from the tap. It's not a problem.
You're just flexing on us.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Fear me and my water infrastructure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand what went wrong, or I don't understand why this is such a... It's honestly better anywhere else besides here. It's unfortunate. I don't like that that's the case.
What the heck happened to your water?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of it is
could be-
probably just the way the minerals of the area are. Like,
Possibly.
our place is well water, and so how good well water is for drinking and consumption is literally just luck of what's in the earth in our area. And our area grows a fuck ton of rice, so the water and soil needs to be pretty clean to safely export rice, because that's just like... The way you farm rice just puts everything from the water into the rice.
So if you want good, clean water, you want to move next to a farm. Is what you're telling me.
It's not true for all farms. It's specifically rice farms, because the way paddies are, it's just like concentrated. What's in the water goes into the rice.
Oh,
I mean, if you're
interesting.
worried
I didn't
about
know that.
you're worried about things in your rice, it's California rice is some of the cleanest, healthiest rice in the world, just because of the water and soil quality tends to be quite good. A lot of Southwest white rice often has a lot of problems with it, just because of how the soil is.
Our water is so good. Why are we still in a drought?
Well, because we don't have enough of it.
We're drinking too much water. Everyone stop
I don't think
drinking
that's the
water for a
case.
day.
I don't even exactly. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to entail, but I'm assuming it has something to do with we don't have enough water for some purpose or something.
Yeah, I mean, droughts. What makes a drought differs from your area? I mean, general California. I mean, it's just going to be like it didn't rain very much this year, or the way that the temperatures rotate didn't work very well because a lot of the water basically comes from melted ice caps, and at least where I am, not ice caps, melted mountainous snow, because we live in a valley. I don't know how far you two are from me, but it's a lot of nearby California is in the same valley with the same situation.
Well,
So what
I
matters
know
is
her-
how cold it got versus how warm it got.
Yeah. I know that we're close. Eric's a bit further, but
I'm like 2, maybe 3 hours away from you, Ryan. I think.
probably I'm not. Well,
Yeah,
the
Ryan and I
city's
are
a
both
big
in the
night.
Sacramento area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Cupertino, so that's a bit far from you too. But all the talk about like the what defines when we're in a drought kind of makes me think about you know how like is people are telling you, oh, you guys should take like 5-minute showers to save water and things like.
Oh, people's water use is such a
That's-
minuscule
I
percentage.
know.
I have something to say
Yeah,
about that. Yeah.
it's like the same thing for when giant coal gas companies and factories tell you to stop driving instead ride
It's like when
bicycles or whatever
Coca-Cola
to
tells you
save
to reuse your
to say-
bags.
to prevent like CO2 when they're like the ones that are contributing the most to CO2 emissions
Yeah.
in the world, or like the general population. What I think it was from a Who's a Grat episode. If you guys know what that channel is, it's like educational videos on like stuff that's happening in our current world, where I think the general population contributes maybe at least under 5% of all CO2 emissions compared to like
Yeah.
all the factories and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah, it's factories and companies.
I think the same could also be said for water, but I don't know where.
That's likely
It is
the
the
water
same for
goes.
water.
Yeah, I mean the
Commercial water usage is way higher, to the point in which consumer water usage is it's
yeah.
negligible. The reductions to it are negligible if there are any reductions. If people take 5-minute showers, it's not going to do. If everyone in California was to take a 5-minute shower, it would not impact this drought at all. All of the water, all of the stuff that is happening with our lack of water is because of commercial water usage in factories and various other industries.
yeah
Industrial water usage.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
even
what
if you
it's called.
take only what's used specifically for farms, that's like a quarter to half of all California water usage. That's not a bad thing. Farms are useful, but it's like it's the unfortunate mix of California has amazingly good weather and amazingly good soil, but so little water that farming tends to just like actually consume all of the water in the state, and that's kind of a non-negotiable thing.
Yeah, I guess farming is important. We need to make the food.
Oh yeah, I mean, and factories are great for production too, but it's like it's not on the consumer, and all the campaigns to make it appear like it's on the consumer is just a way to appear more environmentally friendly than they are. The really depressing
Yeah.
statistics I heard is that plastic companies basically invented plastic recycling, found out it doesn't work very well, and then tried to advertise to the world it works great. Only about 10% of plastic you put in recycling actually gets recycled. The entire rest of it gets to the dump. It's incredibly non-profitable or efficient to recycle plastic.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
It
does
costs less
basically
to
nothing.
produce new plastic than to recycle reused plastic.
Oh, I did not know that at all.
Yeah,
that is
the
true.
the very very nice top-notch plastic can be reused. not recycled. There's also, like, plastic that's borderline garbage, that, unfortunately, like, third world countries seem to be taking turns hosting a business that has barely managed a way to make it profitable to recycle that plastic, but then the country usually bans it shortly after because it's a horrible health hazard and people near the factory die from all the fumes repeatedly. So, it's not good. And it's until we run out of countries that are, realizing for some reason they import garbage plastic, and then a company can find a way to make money off of it, killing the nearby inhabitants. After that, there'll just be none of that plastic that's recycled.
Nice.
Hooray.
Hooray,
Yeah.
plastic!
Hey, on the good note, metal and glass are great for recycling, just not
Oh
plastic.
yeah. Those, I know those are good. And those can be easily recycled.
Yeah.
And paper is okay, not good. And cardboard is basically paper.
The thing is that for the most part, a lot of things come in plastic containers nowadays compared to, I don't know, 20 or so years ago.
Mhm.
There's a lot more glass and, well, I guess, a lot more glass bottles, or a lot of glass containers were much more available.
Yeah, they're
they
more
were much more widely
usable.
used.
Yeah.
But now, a lot of the time, plastic is typically what most containers are made out of. And that kind of just, because it's the thing is that it's a lot less costly to produce
Yeah, it's
plastic
really
than
cheap
to produce
and it's
glass.
really light, so it's really easy to ship.
Yeah.
And,
And also it's, I mean, I guess it's not as durable, but it doesn't break it and drop it.
yeah, the other side of it, too, is all the problems with plastic and that it never degrades means, on the other hand, it lasts for fucking ever, so that means it's great as a material for using things. Like plastic cups, plates, things for, general research purposes are great at doing what plastic needs to do, but single-use plastics are atrocious.
I mean, I feel like the thing with plastic is I think the issue stems from markets selling things with plastic rather than consumers buying things that have plastic.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Because the consumer's always just gonna buy whatever the fuck is cheapest. They don't actually give a shit. Because most people aren't in a position to make that choice.
Well, yeah, if you want a certain product and it just so happens to have a plastic container, you're gonna buy it because you want the product, not because it
Yeah.
has a plastic
And
container.
the other side of it is, say you're buying milk, and then one weird hippie brand in your area serves milk in glass jugs that you can turn in the next day to recycle, but it's 50% more expensive. There's not a lot of families able to make that decision.
That is true.
I will say, I did actually buy milk in a glass bottle one time from the market while we were in university.
Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
the best milk I've ever had. It had like a cream top and everything.
Mhm.
It was probably the most authentic milk experience that I've ever had.
I understand what you're saying, but something gets me about authentic milk experience.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say that. I wish I could have more authentic milk experiences.
Yeah, you really want to live as the milks did.
I don't know. Okay, actually, now I think about it more, I'm not sure. I'm gonna double back on that thing I just said because I'm thinking about it again, and I don't exactly enjoy the fact that I said that.
You know, you're gonna
you
have
took
to live
great
with it.
pride in
It's
it. You took great.
Actually, no. I'm doubling back again.
No,
I'm
you
back to
tripled
having
down.
authentic milk experiences.
Oh
I'm
my.
tripling down on this. I'm a fan of authentic milk experiences now again.
Nice. I'm proud of you,
Yep.
Ryan.
Yeah, I mean it was good.
I've seen them before, but I've never tried it because they are more expensive than like
They are more
milk
expensive.
cartons or milk jugs. Do milk
Well-
vans still exist? Like they come
No,
out
not
like,
really.
they come out like
I
every
don't
week.
think
Definitely
so.
not as a large scale operation.
Aw.
Yeah.
If you live in an area with farms around, you could probably end up having milk shipped to you, and then you could find a nearby recycling plant to give the glass jugs if they're a weird milk brand that serves them in glass jugs. Hey, we're not the worst. There's places around the world, particularly Canada, that serves milk in plastic bags, which is even harder to recycle than milk jugs.
Milk in plastic bags? What?
Yeah, and then there's actually a household appliance that kind of looks like a pitcher that you balance the milk bag in to put it in your fridge. so you can pour it out of the bag.
I need
I'm
to look.
thinking
I
It's
need
just
to
how
look
it
this
works
up.
in Canada.
What is
I'm thinking of
this?
those bags for baby formula.
This looks
Yeah,
terrible.
you thought Canada was similar to the States? It's a world of difference. They put their milk in bags. How could they be the same?
This. It just looks wrong.
Yeah, that's just how it is, man.
Sometimes it should be.
God, I saw
They
for
think
the
we're
first
weird for
time
having it in
in.
jugs.
I saw for the first time in one of the Asian supermarkets we regularly go to, where they have started putting all of their fruit in individual plastic wrappers. I don't know if it was like an issue with like bugs getting into them, or maybe
What?
people touching. I don't know. I don't know what would make them want to put all their fruit into plastic baggies. It just blows my mind how
Maybe it's a COVID.
a
Maybe
COVID
it's supposed
thing.
to be some kind of COVID. Maybe it's a COVID countermeasure. I don't know.
COVID
I don't know. It
can't
could also
spread
just
through
be that where they
food.
source their fruit from started wrapping it in plastic to ship it easily.
I thought there were studies where COVID can't be passed through food. Like if someone cooks your food at a restaurant, they can't pass it to you.
I don't know. Asian people are weird, I guess. I don't know. My main metric for this is just knowing how my grandma works, because she's an old Asian woman. That's kind of the only thing I can really think about. And she's COVID concerned, and so what she does is every time she sends food to us, or has my mom bring food from where she lives to here, she, wraps it in a lot of plastic wrap when it's completely unnecessary. And she said, I don't know, I think one of the reasons she stated for why she does it is because she's, like, afraid of, like, COVID doing something. I don't know, though.
Well, at the very least, it's weirdness out of kindness.
Yeah,
I guess so.
it actually. I don't know. Does COVID live longer on plastic than it would on food?
I don't know.
I mean, there's studies about how long COVID lasts on surfaces, but the big thing is there's people all around you. That's going to be the overwhelming amount of exposure. When you're talking about billions and billions of tiny particles, you kind of have to talk about probabilities rather than, like, the physical particles, you know?
Yeah, that reminds me. COVID reminds me of. It's like still happening in the world, but like after how many years has it been? 3 or 4 years of being exposed to it, people just kind of don't care about it anymore. When I go outside, people aren't wearing masks anymore. When I feel like they still should be. When COVID is still such a
Yeah, it
concern.
definitely varies from place to place. I mean, I think America, compared to other countries, had a stiff reaction to masking just because of how not normal it is for people to mask prior to now.
Yeah, in like Asian countries, masking when you're sick is like common practice. But then here in America, when I was in San Diego, very white populated, no one was wearing a mask outside. Absolutely no one, not even indoors.
Oh yeah,
It
where
was
I
just
live,
me.
there's no one who wears masks outside, and few who wear them inside. I look like the weird one when I usually do.
Yeah, it's just
Well,
it just bothers me so much because my mom also is immunocompromised. So being around people who don't wear masks and like when COVID is still happening is very dangerous for her. It's also dangerous for me and my dad if we go near those people because if we
Yeah,
get it,
because you're in
she's gonna
access
get
with
it.
her.
Yeah.
yeah.
So like it
That's
just
a tough
bothers
one.
me so much because recently, for some reason, it started this year, not like when COVID was first starting when everyone was like masking up. But now this year, mask mandates seem to be more lax, or people just don't care anymore. Like
Yeah,
I
I
went to,
think it's most cities have lifted the inside masking requirements, and now it's on a business themselves. And the problem with putting that kind of responsibility on a business themselves is it's just telling them, "Hey, would you like less clientele?" You know?
yeah, it puts the business at risk when they're given the choice of whether to keep up mask
Yeah.
mandates or not. As I went
Well, then
to,
it's
I went Yeah, I went to a pita place that has like the sign, like masks are required and stuff, but no one's wearing a mask. There's a sign that tells you to wear one. No
Wait,
one's wearing one.
inside?
Yeah, inside. And no one's wearing one. Like, come on,
Yeah.
it's on the sign. And no one's, like, enforcing it either. So,
Oh yeah, I mean
it's just like a lost cause at this point, trying to make people wear masks. So the
yeah,
best
it's like
we
when
can
you
do
look
is
in
just stay away.
businesses. When you look in businesses where I am, it's like you have an optional masking kind of thing in the building, but then every single employee by the company is required to wear a mask. So it's like the company literally knows it's a good idea to make people wear masks, but they just don't want to force the clientele to because they'll lose money. Because for some reason it got put on the people instead of the city or the I think it was generally the city in the state who would have that kind of.
Yeah, it's up to the city, mostly. Like, the city controls the districts, the city mandates
Yeah, I mean,
whether
and
each district will mask, or whether they'll leave it up to them.
it's not the worst. I heard that in a lot of places in England, like people are a lot more hostile to people wearing masks who just get offended, like why are you wearing a mask kind of question. I've never really gotten
Really?
any of that here, even if less people wear masks.
I never really know about how COVID or masking is reacted to in other places. I've only thought about it here.
Yeah.
Well, except for China, because my parents are from China. Oh my, the lockdown was not good. I've heard bad things about the lockdown in China. It was like, it feels inhuman at some points.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
that's,
rough and
maybe that's why people aren't keen to masking here. Maybe they think it feels inhuman, but I wouldn't know. I
I don't
haven't
know.
directly asked them.
Just as a culture, I feel like America tends to be really resistant to face covering. I don't know exactly what's up with it, but a lot of things that turned into strangely political arguments are related to people covering their faces. So I suspect people just don't like faces being covered in general here. I don't know. Can't identify or read emotions. I don't know.
I mean, that is kind of absurd.
Seems like a mild concern, though. The benefit.
The thing about it is that this is, in the grand scheme of things, I see this as simply just perpetuating it. Because if you don't cover up, then you just run the risk of either contracting it yourself or giving it to someone else who contract it. Even if you are immunized to it, even if you are vaccinated, you can still contract it and give it to someone who isn't vaccinated. And so that just runs the risk of
Yeah.
someone, contracting it and feeling the symptoms and the effects of it. And then because they have it, because it just allows it to spread more easily because you just chose to
Yeah.
not cover your face.
I mean, the unpleasant line that is true, but went around a lot near the very beginning of the pandemic is when the pandemic started, if everyone who was able just fully and effectively isolated themselves for 2 weeks, it would be over in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but no one wanted to do that.
Yeah, so it's been 2+ years.
We keep having waves. The first wave ended. The
Hooray,
second wave
freedom,
began.
right?
Yeah, freedom. Freedom
Makes
to
you feel
do.
so free.
Oh, I
Freedom
feel
to
free
do
as
whatever
fuck.
we want and just contract corona everywhere.
Uh-huh. Hooray.
Yay.
What a wonderful country. I hate this place.
I hate this place. Get me out of here.
I am an anti-American at this point.
Man, it's just first world problems. This is just first world problems.
Is it? This is a disease that can kill people.
Yeah, but I don't know how other places are handling
I mean, in our defense, we're handling it much better than a lot of third world countries.
Yeah.
But still not to the quality of a first world country. We'll call it a second world country, shall we? Actually, I think that's a real term, so. Not that.
Yes. I'm assuming it probably is a real term. But yeah, I don't know. We could have been
It could have been over so quickly. But no.
it could have. The people didn't wanna. They decided that some things are too important, and they don't care if people die as long as they get to exercise their freedom. What an American sentiment, I guess.
Very cool.
This is
Yeah.
the American dream that we've always strived for, and no one else is gonna get in the way. Not masking, not COVID.
Yeah, hooray.
Right. America!
Oh yeah, well look at that. July 4th is coming soon.
Yeah.
2 weeks we'll be able to celebrate our freedom.
Yeah, celebrate our immense Americanness by creating fire hazards and illegally setting off explosives in public spaces.
Some of them are okay. Some of them are, what's the word?
Questionable.
Only
No, not
mild
questionable.
fired hazards.
Well, not mild fire. Some of them are. Is the word ordained? I'm not sure.
Street
The ones
legal?
that are, yeah,
Preordained.
because they were preordained, officiated. I don't know, something that makes it so that it's, it's not illegal. It's been okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think there is a July 4th celebration this year. If any, there's around the week where I live.
Where I live, there's people who do 4th of July fireworks the week before and the week after, every single night until midnight.
Really.
Yeah.
We used to go watch fireworks before COVID happened. Now we just have those. I don't know what they're called. What, crackle poppers or something? You just throw them onto the floor and they pop.
And they snap, yeah.
Yeah, they snap, crackle, pop. I don't know what the name is.
Those are the
Those
Rice
are
Krispies, yeah.
Rice Krispies?
Yeah.
Did you just say Rice Krispies?
Yeah, you said snap, crackle, pop, so I said
Snap,
Rice
crackle,
Krispies.
pop, Rice Krispies, yeah. Isn't that what you're throwing on the ground?
Yeah,
Just a
you're
bunch of
throwing Rice
cereal?
Krispies on the ground?
Yeah, they do snap, crackle, and pop when you hit them against the ground.
Wait, is that like the slogan for
That's
Rice
their logo.
Krispies?
That's
Really?
that's their
That's their-
slogan, and it's also
that's
the
the
names of
three
the three
characters.
mascots. For
I
the
did
Rice
not
Krispie
know
cereal
that.
as
That
well.
was unintentional.
My God, how did you not know this?
I did not know this. I don't usually.
I'm
get these
interested.
type
I'm
of
interested
things.
in how this came to be, because it seems like you have a lot of lapses in. I don't know if this is. I mean, for all we know, it's a good thing that you don't know all these things, because it means that you haven't been influenced by advertising as much as us. But at the same time, it's like they're like cultural thing. Like you see a commercial on TV and you see like Snap, Crackle, Pop, Rice Krispies. Oh, what kind of adventure? What kind of hijinks are the Rice Krispies trio going in to do today? When you pour the milk into your Rice Krispies, you can hear it talk, and then they cut to a cartoon as they zoom in on your bowl of cereal of three mascots doing who knows what.
I feel like pathetic when it comes to knowing a lot of culture and life skills. Like there's stuff I should know, but it's just lapses in my knowledge I've just never been exposed to before. For some reason,
Okay, well
it's like for some reason this has not been an issue in like past episodes we've done, but for some reason it's happening in this one. I know when we usually talk, sometimes there's things that come up that I have no idea what's happening, or I've never been
Yeah.
exposed to. Or
Yeah, I mean,
think-
it's not a huge issue. I don't know. It's probably just a symptom of you've been able to keep yourself occupied a lot of your life. I think a lot of knowledge of culture comes from just what people do when they're bored. Now, a truly useless fact about Snap, Crackle, and Pop is, derivatives of position being like velocity, acceleration, position, that sort of thing. After acceleration, so third derivative is jerk. And then after that is snap, and then after that is crackle, and then after that is pop.
interesting.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
those
I did not
physicians
know-
just being funny, dude.
I
So
did
wait a
not know
minute.
that.
Velocity, acceleration.
It goes position, velocity, acceleration, jerk, snap, crackle, pop.
I
So pop
see.
is the sixth derivation of position. Sorry.
Our physics class only went up to jerk.
Oh
I
yeah,
never gave
anything
us
above
that.
jerk's not useful. That's why they're funny things.
Yeah. Because jerk is effectively the acceleration of your acceleration.
Mhm.
And snap is
Yeah.
the acceleration of your jerk, and so on.
No, you have to give it. In order to make people understand, the people who may not be as physics oriented.
Yeah,
You just
so
have to say that,
acceleration is change of velocity, change of acceleration is jerk, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, so jerk is acceleration of acceleration, and snap is acceleration of acceleration of acceleration, and crackle is acceleration of acceleration of acceleration of acceleration, and pop is acceleration of acceleration of acceleration of acceleration of acceleration.
You didn't make that any more understandable, Ryan.
I'm pretty sure I did. I used one word to describe all of that, and I guess
Does that
using
make
that
it
one.
easier?
I think more people understand acceleration rather than like derivatives and the change of this and things like that. I think if you just say that things are the acceleration of the acceleration X amount of times, I think that's more understandable,
maybe.
right?
I guess it's like saying your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather.
Yeah, but you could, in that case, like my dad's father, my uncle, what is it? My best friend's uncle's cousin's great grandfather's nephew.
This is goldfish.
You said the
He
word
told me
acceleration,
that
so-
fish told me.
Yeah, he blub.
Oh my god. You ever have that moment where a word gets said so many times it starts sounding weird to you and
Yes.
starts
Yeah.
losing all of
Did
its
it have its
meaning?
acceleration?
Acceleration.
Acceleration doesn't have any meaning to it anymore. It's just a sound now. It doesn't have any actual... That's what happens. If you think about words too much, that's essentially what it is. I think about that all the time, like, why is this thing called this thing? Because, ultimately, it's just a combination of syllables to make a specific sound, and in and of itself has no actual meaning, but people give it meaning.
And then it gets really weird if you just think of the literal noises and mouth motions to make a word. Like crisp is one of the most satisfying words I know because it goes from the back to the front of your mouth, showcasing
Crisp.
many things that your mouth can do. Crisp.
And it does, the word itself does kind of describe the idea that the word is supposed to describe. Which is an interesting... I always thought those things are kind of interesting, when the words kind of reflect the idea or thing that they're supposed to be, representing.
Yeah, and there's an amount of intuitiveness that goes into a lot of words, even across languages. Like, pretty much every language, the word for mother has some sort of ma or a
Yeah.
to it.
I've always
because of
wondered
how-
about that.
I think it's just what babies do with their mouths,
I
to be
guess.
honest.
I am astounded by the number of different languages that have mama and papa as the way that they say mother and father.
Yeah. There's also the experiment, what was it, Bobo and Kiki, and everyone knows, and it's asking, there's two shapes, and you have to name one Bobo and one Kiki, and you always name the pointy shaped Kiki and the round one Bobo,
Yeah.
universally across all cultures.
Yeah, Kiki
'Cause,
just
well,
sounds more
K-
pointy.
It just
K-
sounds
K is a
pointy,
sharper
man.
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Language is fascinating.
In Japanese language, isn't mother a full son?
That's Okasa.
Okasan. And okay, father's a oto
Otosan.
san.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have they don't have the ma.
But there's
sound
also,
in it.
like,
They
slang
do.
They
versions
don't?
of it.
They
Wait,
do?
I've got it. It was haha, his mother? I'm not pronouncing
That's not.
it well.
That's not slang. That's a formal way to.
That's formal?
To refer to.
Alright,
Yeah.
I didn't got it, I lied.
It's a pretty formal way of saying mother and father is chi chi and haha, or haha and chi chi. Anyway, no, the most I guess
Where's the
I
ma
wouldn't call
song
it informal,
coming?
but the most basic way of saying mother and father in Japanese is still mama and papa.
Ah, shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
It
They
is.
just say mom and papa then.
Yeah, babies say mama and papa. They don't come out of the womb saying okasan and otosan.
Sure they do.
No, they don't.
Have you ever
Just
seen
like
a
I
Japanese
popped out
baby
of the
before?
womb saying mother, father.
Mother, father,
I've been born.
I have been born, and now I will refer to you, and I talk like that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah, babies
Right.
start with that deep of a voice, regardless of gender, and then they settle into their voice.
yeah. There's a pre-puberty
Yeah.
there's a pre-puberty series. What is that? Sequence? No, period. That's what it's called. A pre-puberty period.
Yeah,
A
just like that.
Prepubescent period. Before you enter pre-puberty, you have to go through pre-puberty.
Yes.
Acceleration.
Pre is starting to lose its meaning to me.
Puberty.
It
is
is.
It is
puberty.
becoming
Puberty.
white noise in my head.
Prepubescent, or just the word, or just the prefix pre?
This is pre.
What does it mean to pre? Oh, actually, that sounds kind of gross.
Uh-oh, Stinky Ryan.
I'm sorry.
It's kind of naughty today.
No, I mean, I'm a good
Ryan got a little excited talking about language there.
I am not. I'm a pure person. Hey, you guys are the ones that made authentic milk experience naughty. I just said it because that's what I was describing. Yes, you did. You said, "Oh, Ryan, what are you talking about?"
I said it's a little weird to talk about your milk experience like any other food.
You said it was weird. I was being completely candid about it. I was saying that this is the most delicious milk that I've ever had, and nothing is going to compete with it.
You
it
said
tastes
it was
so good.
Milk experience. And
No,
I was making fun of that phrase.
Not peak, authentic. Don't make this worse.
It's okay, Ryan. We all know you're a pre-person.
Don't say that.
Alright, but I think we're fresh out of time. We started off on a kind of serious note, but I'm kind of glad we left it off more lighthearted.
Milk
And pre. Oh.
No, don't put those together.
Alright, thank you everyone for listening. You can watch and listen to us live every Saturday on twitch.tv/ShatterPointGames. One day, starting at 3-ish p.m. PST. If you can't make it, no worries. New episodes will go up on Monday at 12 p.m. PST on your favorite podcasting platforms, as well as on YouTube at youtube.com/BreakTimePodcast. Follow us on Twitter at ShatterPointGS if you want. Join us next week when we talk about whatever Ryan, my friend, wants to talk about. Until then, break time over.